In the name of Allah, most merciful, most compassionate, dear viewers, peace be upon all of you. We welcome you, the best welcome in our episode for this night from your program, Rituals. This program that giving you all the characteristics for the pilgrimage, and we respond to all your questions and explanations through the different means of connection that is organized by the Islamic Affairs and consultation in the KSA within their raising the awareness for the pilgrims in this year. And the start of this episode, we welcome the permanent guest, Dr. Khalid bin Abdullah al-Muslih, the professor in the Islamic faculty. We welcome you, Sheikh. We welcome you, and we welcome also all our brothers and sisters, and we invocate for the God to be accepted and help us for worshipping Allah in our acts and in our performing the worshipping. Our episode today, it will be allocated today and designated about the prohibitions of sacralization of Ihram, that the things that you can do during the sacralization or Ihram, and other also things that we are going to talk, and we welcome your participation, questions, explanation. Our Sheikh, if we start with the definition of the prohibition acts of Ihram or sacralization, peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad and all his companions and followers. Sacralization or Ihram, it will be like to enter in the state of Ihram or sacralization. So if you are Hajj and started and entered in this state, it will be for a specific time since you start and the intention of or start the Ihram until you exist from the status of sacralization, about what is related to the rituals of Hajj or Umrah. And this period of time got some duties we need also to maintain through the duties that were imposed by Allah. And there is also some prohibited acts or prohibited or forbidden acts, and our God indicated for this that all the Hajj is during well-known months. So once you entered in the state, in this state of Ihram, you are not allowed. So whoever has made Hajj obligatory upon himself therein by entering. So we need also to pay attention and maintain and do what our God asked us and ordered us to do. So there is no allowed for sexual relationship, and no disobedience and no disputing during Hajj. So that's why during this period our God made this status from the things that we need to maintain as a human, and he gave us also a reward for this, and he removed all our sins if we were committed to perform all these duties that our Prophet Muhammad said. If anyone also went to Hajj and he didn't do any sexual relationships, no disobedience, and no disputing during Hajj, he will be back as the day that he was born. So we need to perform Hajj as our God told us to do, and not to do whatever our God prohibited us from doing. So it's the route and the lane that we can get as mankind or human for the forgiveness of God. So the accepted pilgrimage to not to do whatever is forbidden or prohibited from doing, and these are the acts that you are prevented from doing during the state of sacralization or Ihram. These are the prohibitions that you are not allowed as a Muslim, whether a male or a female, during the sacralization state or Ihram. And it's very or different prohibitions, and we can put it into three sections, what is common, what is for the men, male and female, and there is also other prohibitions just only for men, other prohibitions just only, or acts just only for the females. Before we go deep into details, this is the definition of the prohibitions of Ihram, which is something you are prevented not to do, and this is things or acts you are not allowed to do during this period of time, which is the prohibitions that you are not allowed to do during sacralization or Ihram. And all these prohibitions It's originally we take it or we learn it from the Holy Quran and from the route of our Prophet, the Sunnah, and we need to go back to the Holy Quran and to the route of our Prophet, the Sunnah. It's not something that we can expect or try to think about or invent in our minds, but everything you need to find the text to be prevented from doing that. It means you are not allowed to do this or this. So it's not something like a proposal or according to your opinion. This is something is based on the text of the Quran and the route of the Sunnah. So according also the prefer for this, you can also accomplish and achieve that the obeying of Allah in this also. Secondly, it will be a choice also for you to get the rewards, which will be based on the Hajj, for the accepted Hajj, and to get the major rewards. It will be for the one who maintained his Hajj and Umrah and he didn't do any from the prohibited acts. If you do all that, you will go back as the day you were born. So you need to maintain this, meaning that you avoided any of the disputing during Hajj or like sexual relation. And this will be into details. We will talk into details whenever we talk about this. So it will be three types. The things that can be just only directed individually for the females. This is two types, for the females, for the males, and there is common prohibition acts for the both. The most clear prohibited acts, which is also mentioned in the Holy Quran, shaving or cut the hair. So you can do this until the sacrificial animal get to the place. So shaving hair for the one who's in the state of sacralization or in the state of Ihram, there is no difference between males and females. This is the most clear prohibited acts which is meant, which was also mentioned in our Holy Quran. But other prohibitions also like sexual relationship. This is also based on this resulted different rules. So this is one of the major prohibitions that you will also spoil all this, and you must pay like a ransom. It will be resulted like a ransom on this. Like as other rules, we are going to talk into details, but the most clear prohibited, because God mentioned this in a very clear way. There is no ambiguity in this or other meanings related to this, but in the text, do not shave your heads until the sacrificial animal get to the place. So about counting the prohibitions, first of all, they started off shaving hair, because it came in the text of the Holy Quran, do not shave your heads until you sacrifice an animal in the place, whether from exiting from the state of sacralization or Ihram and Umrah. What is related to this prohibited, like shaving hair, and it was generalized, all the scientists shaving hair for all the body, not only for the hair or removing any hair from any part of the body. It's prohibited. In addition to what is mentioned, usually like shaving the hair all the time we were in the past. So if you are prevented from shaving the hair of your head, so it will be also for all, it will be applied for all the body, or the armpits or anything. He's prevented to remove any hair or any other hair from any part of the body. And they took the evidence for this according to what our God mentioned in the pilgrimage verses about what they are doing, all the pilgrimages to do circumambulation to the old house, and they will come from all places to witness the benefits for them and mention our God name in some specific days, and eat from the sacrificed animals and feed all the poor people, and until to try to perform the circumambulation in the old house of Allah, and to remove any to clean their body path, to cut nails, from anything that were stuck to the body based on the state of Ihram, and for the things that can be also stuck to their body in the old, and sometimes now it's stuck because they are leaving what they are enjoying in the halal, like the perfume or others. What is meant that this verses, it was taken as an evidence by the scientist about shaving the hair and shaving any hair from any part of the body, and the one who's in the state of the sacralization, he is not allowed even to cut nails. And in the text of these verses also we mentioned that even in the hand we can't remove any, like if someone was if it's done by a mistake or something, they don't have any like or they don't have an intention to do it, I think it's okay. But if he was doing this intentionally, no. The other meaning, or the other prohibited, or the third one we mentioned too, we talked about shaving the hair or from any part of the body and cut nails. And the third thing is the perfume which is also prohibited for females and males. It's prohibited for females and males, and the evidence for this, what came, Aisha, be pleased with her, God be pleased with her. I was putting perfume or wearing perfume to the Prophet before he start before he start into the state of sacralization. And one of the people, he died before he performed the circumambulation, farewell circumambulation. He said, "Path him, but don't try to put any type of perfume when you are pathing the dead bodies." So if it's not allowed from any type of perfumes, in Hanut it was a type of perfume used just only for pathing the dead bodies. And this is also what is also taken from some of the scientists, from wearing any perfumes starting with the body and the clothes or the sheets. But about the perfume, if he put any perfume before or he perfumed his body or his clothes before he start in the state of sacralization, it's okay. So Sheikh, this is also, it will be like you are talking about the new types of perfume, like deodorant or anything. Deodorant, it's not a perfume, it's not considered as a perfume, but it try to remove the bad smell from the body. But what we mean about perfume, what you are using all the time or usually, so you are not prevented from smelling the good smells. Sometimes if you are in the state of Ihram, you smell like different type of smells of the roses and also the fruits, which is not perfume, and also the soap, which is not even a perfume. Sometimes you will find a good smell or it's smelly, but it's not a perfume. So it's not based on this, but we are talking about like some that like sometimes you mix some perfumes with the soap that you have. The good smell, it doesn't have any impact, but what we are talking here is the real perfume, what you are normally having sometimes, and you are not prevented from smelling such different good smells. This is for the third part of the prohibited acts. And what is common between females and males also for the prohibitions is like sexual relation. This is also what meant in the days of this, and there is no sexual relation or disputing during this month. And this is one of the major prohibited acts. What can be resulted according to this different rules can be resulted in this. This is also that you can even spoil the state of Ihram that you are in, and it will be based on this also the ransom, and also the to redo it again, all this state of Ihram from the start. One small point, Sheikh. And does this like also it will be within the prohibited acts, like kissing the wife or something like this? What we are talking about this is to direct in the sexual relationship. If he started like without like to touch her hand of his wife during like seeking between Safa or Marwa or circumambulation or shake the hands. He is not prohibited from doing this, and this is something normal. There is nothing wrong about this, but you are prevented from, like, if there is anything related to the sexual like act you are going to start, and the evidence for this and the proof for this, during the state of Ihram in this month, you are not allowed to do any or to start any sexual relationship. And it's not only for the males, it's for males and females. So anything can be done, and based on this is prohibited. This is for the sex prohibited act. And for the second, from the common also, for the common, even for male and females, prohibited from doing acts like hunting. Hunting, you can do it if you do this intentionally until the end of the holy verses. You are prevented even from hunting. Hunting everything which is meant, the meat from it, which our God made it lawful for us, like the gazelle and all other, like the birds, for the food, that you hunt for the food. This is also under the classification or the class of hunting. But hunting from the sea, there was a disagreement between the scientists. You are not prevented from doing even if you are in the state of sacralization of Ihram, and because it's lawful for you as long as you are in the state of sacralization for the sea part, for hunting or fishing, let's say. But hunting in the land area, it's not allowed. And this is also the sixth of the prohibited acts, which is common between males and females. Sheikh, we will continue about all these prohibitions after this short break, by God willing. Excuse us, dear viewers, in a short break, and we will get back to you to continue the program Rituals. Stay with us. We welcome you back again, dear viewers, and we are still with you in a live broadcasting and rituals programs, and we are talking today in this episode about the prohibitions of sacralization or Ihram. We welcome you, Sheikh. There is still one point we talked already about the common prohibitions of sacralization for males and females. And there is many things is prevented for males and females: cut hair or cut any hair from any part of the body, cut nails, perfume, sexual relation, hunting. And we meant about the hunting, we mentioned the hunting, what you asked about the hunting, which is can be from the land hunting, but fishing, it was lawful based on our what is mentioned in the holy verses of the Quran, that it's lawful for you, and the fishing as a food for you, and it's unlawful for you the land hunting as long as you are in the state of sacralization or Ihram. So it's lawful for the people fishing and what food we can get from there, and he prevented also or made it unlawful the hunting from the land area. The last common point for the prohibitions of Ihram or sacralization, having like the sex relationship, that our Prophet said that he can't do any sex or have any sexual relationship, and there is no difference between males or females. He's not allowed even to get married, and he's even not allowed to marry his the daughters or the females in his incubation or custody. Let's say these are 7 points common between males and females as prohibitions. Okay, if we can repeat again: cutting hair, cutting nails, perfume, sexual relationship, in addition to hunting and marriage also at the same time. This is 7 common between females and males. But what is specialized or special for the females, for the males, in the clothes and in covering the head, for what is mentioned in the two about Muhammad ibn Umar, God be pleased with him, when he asked about what can wear the muhrim, the man in the state of Ihram, whether like this clothes, the traditional clothes, the kumus, and also the cover of the head, that and which is also related to the body, the cover of the body, and the burnous is like a clothes, like it will be attached to a cover of the head, like our brothers in Morocco, what they are wearing, the traditional clothes. And he said also like the pants or the light ones, this is also what he is allowed as the man in the state of sacralization, but this is only directed to the males or the man. And this is what is he prevented also in the prohibitions of sacralization about any clothes for the man, the regular or the irregular, the stitched clothing, let's say for men. Sometimes the people will be misunderstand this like anything can be sewed. It's not allowed for the man in the state of sacralization. But there is also our Prophet, he focused on the prohibited acts. A man came to the Prophet and he asked him what the man in the state of sacralization, what he can wear. He answered him that he will not wear, but he didn't answer him about what he can wear, because it's a very expanded area here about what he can wear. So this is the text based on the what our Prophet, peace be upon him, said that he can't wear like wear just only the footwear, let's say, or any like any clothes or sheets can cover his body from the stitched clothing, the regular ones that he was wearing before. This is from the prohibitions of the state of sacralization. But the stitched clothes, if it's like, if there is like any hole in your sheet, in the sheet or the cover of your upper part of body, and need to be sewed to cover this hole, or you need to, or two like sheets to cover your body, if it's okay if you sew it. And there is sometimes also some questions, all these sheets that we put it, and there is sometimes some garments, or try to sew it over here not to fall from in case, or just because not to fall from your off your body. So so it's not prevented if it's not under what our Prophet classified like the pants, or so there is nothing also wrong about it, but having it's not prohibited if it's not like very close to the body, as we are designing the regular clothes to our bodies. So what is prohibited, like what is, it's not allowed like a hat or a cap. But if you put in your hair anything that you are holding, it's not a cover, it's okay, it's no wrong about it. Even if you need to cover your head from the sun, as long as you are like intend for this, like carrying or putting on your head. For the prohibited, just only for the females that our Prophet mentioned, she can't wear gloves as a woman in the state of sacralization, which is special only for the males or females. It's just only about clothes. This is what is directed for males or females individually. But we will take a call now, and then we will talk about the prohibited acts for females. Assam from Egypt. Assam, peace be upon you. We welcome you. And there is an invitation from my son who's residing in Mecca now. I went there on the 14th of Shawwal. So he told me, while you are coming from Egypt, do not have any intention for Hajj or Umrah until you get here to Mecca. So after 3 days in Mecca, I performed Umrah I went to the Ihram or to the Miqat location and I started my sacralization state. Is it right or wrong? And if God also facilitated or rewarded us by Hajj, is it right or no? Another call from Nizar in Saudi Arabia. Peace be upon all you. Peace be upon you. I'm going to perform pilgrimage, me and my son, on the 15th of the Hijjah. Is it a duty or we are forced to start our sacralization on the 15th of the Hijjah or wait until we get to the 5th? We are going on the 5th of Hijjah. And the pilgrimage season starts on the 15th. Can we do or enter the state of the sacralization in the mosque of Aisha, or we can start the sacralization while we are in the plane? You are coming from where? From the north of Kingdom, from Jeddah. We are coming from Jeddah, but we are coming on the 5th day of the Hajjah, so it's very difficult for us to start the state of sacralization in 2 or 3 days. Is it allowed to start sacralization state in from Jeddah? And we have we will go back to talk about the prohibited acts for the females. 2 things prohibited for the females: to wear the veiled and the gloves. The veiled, which is the sheet that can cover the face and with some holes for the eyes. She's prevented as a female to wear it. Does this mean that the woman can reveal her face facing the strangers? No. Like Aisha, when she said that some people were passing next to us and we were next to the Prophet, but we will put another piece of the sheet or the garment from that cover our hairs, and we will put it on our faces to cover our faces, and after they pass away from us we will unveil it. So it's allowed for the woman to cover the face and protect the face, but she's not allowed to use like the veil, which can cover the face and with some holes from the and have some holes for the eyes. So knowing that the text came for prohibition, a specific type of clothes or garments or sheets, so it's not allowed. It's not allowed for us to expose or reveal our faces, but we can try to cover our faces from the stranger males. About what is related to the scientist, that the woman, her state sacralization in her face, like sacralization of the woman in her face, this is related to the veil. Other than that, she can protect all the faces of females. She is allowed to do it, even if it's a stick to the face. About the gloves also, she is not allowed to wear gloves. She is not allowed to wear gloves which is designed to protect the hands. Even it can be done from any types, from plastic, from garments. So does this mean at the same time that it's not allowed for her to protect her hands within the cover of her body, or the sheet that she's covering her body? Now we ended now from the main, like let's say, image for what is prohibitions during the state of sacralization. There is another also prohibited act common between females or males, the sense in general. This is we need to avoid, and this is also from the things that can be taken out from your rewards for Hajj and Umrah, pilgrimage and Umrah, for what is said that there is no disobedience and no disputing during Hajj or pilgrimage, and anything is related to the pilgrimage, as the text we have for different or set of prohibited acts. So I recommend to and urge my pilgrims to try to obey our God from and to be away from harming people, from the unlawful look, from the unlawful hearing for some words, and not to and to obey or follow the regulations and to be also good in dealing with other pilgrimage, all these things that we need to pay attention and maintain during our performing to the pilgrimage. This is related to the prohibitions of Ihram, and we will continue our discussion. But our brother from Abu Faris from Saudi, another call. Peace be upon you. How are you, Sheikh? God bless you. I'm staying in Riyadh and living in Riyadh, and now I am in Mecca at this time. So I came before the period of pilgrimage starting from 2 of the Al-Qaeda. So I have the intention for pilgrimage, but I passed the Miqat location, but my intention for pilgrimage, but I didn't start the sacralization once I passed next to the Miqat location. You will hear the answer, Sheikh, after we talked about all the whole set of the prohibitions acts. We will ask for someone if he committed any prohibitions. It's not allowed, it's prohibited. And if it's prohibited and prevented, we are not allowed and we need to avoid. And if we did anything by forgetting, if we forget and we do it without any intentional, or we were forced, or by a mistake we did this, so there is no harm about this, or there is no wrong. This is according to the scientist, because all these things from, let's say, out of your will, like forgetting and what they were forced to do, and we don't blame them for doing this act, and there will be also nothing placed on them after this as a ransom or this. And based on this, there is no blame upon you for seeking a bounty from your Lord during Hajj. So, if they forgot or committed any mistake, this is from the text that can show or prove that if anyone committed any from the prohibitions, that he forget already, he did it by a mistake, or he was forced to do it, or he doesn't have any information about it, he is not blamed. But if he do it intentionally, and he remember everything and he knows everything and he will aware about this that is prohibited, in this case he will fall in acting the prohibitions of pilgrimage, and it will be resulted on this, or it will be enforced on this, the ransom. So it's not an optional for you to do any prohibitions. It's not an optional for you like to do it and then do sacrifice or do a ransom or perform a ransom. No, this is a duty for you to do or no. The prohibitions, you have the optional to avoid or to fall in this, and you can do the ransom, but the duty is to avoid, because we are going back to what our God said, that during the Hajj in this month you are not allowed, you mustn't do any no sexual relations, and no disobedience, and no disputing during Hajj. But if he did this and default into these prohibited acts according to the need, so that there is some rules or some results will be also based enforced on this, which is the ransom. First of it, we will take Asma from Saudi call, and then we will take a break. Peace be upon you. If you please, your voice. Sheikh, I got an explanation about the pilgrimage. I will go for pilgrimage this season, but if I delayed the Ifada circumambulation to the farewell circumambulation, can I do it? If I delayed the Ifada circumambulation to the farewell circumambulation, is it okay or no? Thank you very much, Sister Asma from Saudi. We will take a break now. Short break, and we will get back to you, dear viewers, to continue what is left from the rituals. We welcome you back, dear viewers, in the last part of the episode for today, and we remind you about the number for to call and the people who's following us in Twitter. We can follow up with your tweets. We will continue with Dr. Khalid Al-Muslah. We welcome you back, Sheikh. We will take a call from our brother Amjad. Peace be upon you. Hello. Peace be upon you, Sheikh. If you please, your voice, we can't hear you clearly. I intended to go to the pilgrimage in Mukrin, and maybe I can do Ifrad, but I will get to Makkah al-Mukarramah at the first of the Hajj. Can I enter or start as Umrah and then continue the pilgrimage, or start my state of sacralization in Mecca? Because I got some, I have family members in Mecca. I'm living in Dammam, but I will get to Mecca in the first day of the Hajj. So I intended to go Mukrin or Mumta to the Hajj. Our brother Azhari from Sudan. I performed 3 times, and after I threw the pebbles, I did the seeking between Safa and Marwa. I didn't hear the question. Thank you, Azhari. We will talk about the fidya. The ransom, what can be based on doing any of the prohibited or prevented, which is something can be just you can do a ransom if you get married or get engaged during the state of sacralization, but it will not be based on this ransom. It will be based on him like that the contract is not right, is not accepted, and there is no ransom for this. This is the first type of what can be doing or preaching the prohibitions, and the ransom, which will be doubled in this case, which is a sexual relation. This is also according about the that it will spoil all the sexual of the state of sacralization, and to do the right rituals again, and to redo all the rituals again for pilgrimage or Umrah. This is also will be resulted or be enforced on the one who have a sexual relation. The third type of the prohibitions, which can be done like the ransom. The ransom, what is mentioned in the text, don't shave your heads until you get the sacrificial animal to the place. If there is any harm in your head, that you need to do this. If you are harmed from your head, or there is any harm or ill or sick in your head, that you need to shave, this is also needs you to do a ransom in this. Our Prophet, peace be upon him, when there is some hurt in the head of our of his companions, you can sacrifice of animal, or fast 3 days, or feed the 6 poor people. So he gave him 3 options for this. So that's why if you committed any any of the prohibitions or preaching any of these acts that you are prevented from doing, like covering hair or cutting hair or perfume, or all what we mentioned from the, or cutting nails, or wearing some clothes with perfume, or any other from the prohibitions that we mentioned, he got to do a ransom. From other also prohibition, the fourth part, which is related to the hunting. Don't hunt while or kill any hunting during that you are in the state of the sacralization. So this is also a ransom to do, like fast 3 days or feed poor people. This is also will be based on the people who do killing for the hunting. This is also, if you preach any of the prohibited, what is enforced on you to avoid during the state of sacralization, it will be fourth part. There is no ransom for this, like the sexual relation, and also most of the prohibited acts, and some you will not be rewarded in this, like cutting the hunting. And we will answer now the questions of the of our listeners. that one of the calls that we received from our brothers, that his son lives in Mecca, and he invited him to come to the pilgrimage to Mecca. When he came over there, he didn't have the intention or start in the he didn't start in the status of sacralization when he get next to the Miqat location, but he need to start this, and he have two intentions for this: the intention for the visit of his son, or do anything in Mecca, and he also have the intention to to perform pilgrimage. So this is also obligatory for him, even if he has another purpose for the visit. This is a mistake. If he's not aware about this, he's not blamed. And sacralization from out the boundaries of the sacred mosque, it's okay. But if he asked before that, he need to go back to the first location that he can pass to the Miqat. If he performed pilgrimage, and this year he will be mutamatta because he performed the Umrah and he performed also the pilgrimage in the same year. A call from our brother Abu Salah. Abu Salah, yes, please. Peace be upon you. My question: for the female, can she wear like the veiled or cover her face or no? This is the first question. Is she allowed or no? And the second question also, is it which is better for the rituals, mutamata or mufrid or mukrin? This is we talked and answered in the previous or in the last episode. For the second question from Nizar from Saudi, that she is going to the pilgrimage season, and she will arrive on the 5th before 3 days of the season of the pilgrimage. And also this question also was repeated also, the duty for anyone who arrived to Mecca and he needs to perform the rituals, he needs to start the state of sacralization by next or in the first Miqat location, whether once you come in any days of this month, because the designated month for the pilgrimage, if he came with the intention that he's going to perform pilgrimage in this year or in this season, he need to start the state of sacralization in the Miqat location. So that's why even if she came in the 5th day of the Hajj, and they can exist from the sacralization state. This is for the answer. This is the answer for the question of to our sister. And even another question by one of the men, he came that I will come in the first day of the Hajj. If you are, you are forced to be mukrin until you get to the day of sacrificing the animal or the sacrificial day. But if you wanted to exist from the state of Ihram, you will start with the state of sacralization and Umrah and end with the pilgrimage. If you even having your family in another part, but this is up to you. If you are from the people who's living in Mecca or in other places, it's not about where your family living, so you are moving from a country to another, so this is also the same duty will be enforced on you as anyone traveling to Mecca from any other country. One of our brothers said that he living in Mecca. Same answer for him. For the one who's living in Riyadh, I think that this is also makes all the people confused about this, because they don't want, some of them will avoid to be mutamatta, so not to sacrifice in this case. And some of them, he said, I will come early while how can I start the state of sacralization? And some of them will do, he will preach the regulations without come to the pilgrimage season without a permission. So all of them, they need to start the state of sacralization in the Miqat. Asma from Saudi, she wanted to perform pilgrimage while she's mutamatta. If she can delay the ifada circumambulation to the farewell circumambulation, when she can seek between Safa and Marwa, even if she did the circumambulation before, but she will start circumambulation in the intention of ifada, as Aisha did in her Umrah. When our Prophet ordered her, she did the circumambulation and seeked between Safa and Marwa, and then she left with our Prophet. Another question from our brother Azhari from Sudan. Azhari from Sudan, he said, yes, he said that he threw the first people or the people, and then he did the first one, if he cut his head after this, because our Prophet, he was asked about any of the acts that were did in the sacrifice day that you can do without delay or did in advance. Another call from Saudi, from our brother. Hello. Peace be upon you. Hello. Peace be upon you. If you please, we can't hear you clearly. Your question. The TV next to you is very loud. Hello, peace be upon you. I came for performing Umrah. I came from Sudan, and I intended for Umrah, and I went back to Jeddah and Mecca, and I went to the south, and when I went back, now this was in Ramadan, and I came now on the intention for performing pilgrimage. When you were going back to Mecca, did you perform the Umrah? No, I didn't perform Umrah. When you came to the south, you didn't perform Umrah. Why? Okay, thank you. We will listen to the answer. Abu Salah from Saudi for the veiled. We talked about this in details. They are not allowed to wear anything or to put it to cover her face with any holes for the eyes, but she can cover with any sheet of garment that is covering her body. Maybe she can cover the face if there is any of the strangers passing next to her. Or maybe she can just throw put or throw a cover to the face as if you were wearing like the garment to cover your upper part of the body. So also, dear viewers and listeners, there is a Twitter hashtag rituals. We can follow up with the tweets that we can receive. The best also rituals. We talked about this in details in the last episode, but we will give you also some details through the episode on the YouTube website. He need to start the sacralization in the Miqat because he traveled he traveled again. After that, he went back in Ramadan. So if he passed the Miqat location, he needs to go back, and he started the sacralization state in Mecca. Sheikh, is there any some things is allowed for the one who's in the state in sacralization to do it? Originally, he's allowed to do whatever he can do as a lawful, but what is prevented or prohibited, he's not allowed to do. So prohibitions, it's not like something according to the point of views or the minds of anyone that you are not allowed for perfumes, you are not allowed, the text mentioned that you are not allowed for cutting hair, he's not allowed not to wear any stitched clothing, but there is a person or came to us and asked, it's not allowed for the one who's in the state of sacralization not to drink tea, not to drink juice. There is no evidence for this. First of all, we need to prove about what is said, that it's prohibited. There is something, the people, something will be sometimes not clear for them, or there is some ambiguity about this, like wearing a watch. It came, there is no text prevented this, like wearing a watch. That there was no watch or Oakleys in the period or in the era of our Prophet, or a ring. But even the man in the state of sacralization, he's allowed to wear a ring or put a ring in his finger. But if you put a garment and you put it stuck to your, the stretches that you can put on the middle part of your body if there is anything like a pain in your back, he is allowed to put it. Now we got to the end of this episode, and hopefully that it was useful. And thank you very much, Sheikh. Thank you very much. And thank you, Dr. Khalid al-Muslim, and we thank you also, dear viewers, in any place. Hopefully that after we clarified all these prohibitions, the prohibitions acts or prevented acts, maybe if you are not aware about this, you can ask before, if you are not aware, to avoid what you can fall into that can spoil your performing pilgrimage. And until tomorrow, we leave you with the blessing.